Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters, I hope you are well. In an extraordinary breakthrough, the United Arab Emirates and Israel have agreed to establish open diplomatic relations after years of secret contacts. Other than the Palestinians, Turkey and Iran are the biggest losers from this development. The historic normalization or peace agreement known as the Abraham Accord between Israel and the United Arab Emirates that was revealed by President Donald Trump on August 13, 2020 is a revolutionary event in modern Middle Eastern history. While it could potentially save the increasingly endangered governments of PM Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump, the deal has two more significant elements. First, it highlights the end of the Palestinian cause and its stranglehold on the prospects for Middle East peace. And second, it is probably the beginning of the end for Turkey's and Iran's imperial projects in the region. President Donald Trump also said he expects Saudi Arabia to join the peace deal agreed between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, and that the Emirates might be allowed to buy US F-35 jets, one of the most advanced fighters in the world. But Saudi Arabia's foreign minister said on Wednesday that Riyadh will not normalize relations with Israel before an Israeli-Palestinian peace accord is reached. To all those who don't know, the Israel-UAE peace deal or the Abraham Accord promises to establish normal relations between the two countries. These include business relations, tourism, direct flights, scientific cooperation, and in time, full diplomatic ties at the ambassadorial level. The Kuwaiti government has maintained silence regarding UAE-Israel normalization deal. However, 37 Kuwaiti lawmakers on Tuesday called on their government to reject the normalization deal between Israel and the UAE. In a statement, the members of the parliament affirmed their solidarity with the Palestinian people, recalling the parliament's stable and continuous position against normalization with Israel in all its forms. All Palestinian factions, including Hamas and Islamic Jihad, issued statements denouncing the UAE-Israel agreement, saying it does nothing to serve the Palestinian cause and ignores the rights of Palestinians. Palestinian leaders who spoke to Al Jazeera called it a stab in the back. Both the Palestinian leadership and public were caught by surprise when the announcement came on Thursday. We absolutely had no prior knowledge of this agreement, Ahmad Majdalani, the Palestinian Authority's PA Minister of Social Affairs, told Al Jazeera. The timing and speed of reaching this agreement were surprising, especially that it came at a critical moment in the Palestinian struggle. Other Palestinian officials said, though the news came abruptly, it was not much of a surprise. We were not surprised that much because Emirati army was never on the borders ready to fight Israel, said Mustafa al-Barghouti, leader of the Palestinian National Initiative and member of the PA Parliament. Al-Barghouti emphasized the deal doesn't introduce any change or progress, it's far from being genuine peace. This is an attempt to enforce the deal of the century that aims to liquidate Palestinian national rights. It represents a denial of Palestinian, Arab and Islamic rights, he said. Palestinian leaders said the deal was a free gift to Israel and was made to help the re-election of Trump and Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Although Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed said the agreement was reached to stop further Israeli annexation, Palestinians saw little credibility to this claim. The UAE is trying to deceive and mislead the public by repackaging this shameful agreement as a service to the Palestinians and claiming that it halts annexation, but that's merely throwing dust in the eyes, Majdalani said. Majdalani said the deal aims to reshape the Arab approach to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. It allows Netanyahu to say that he can achieve peace in return for peace with the Arabs without withdrawing from any territories. Al-Barghouti said he fears the agreement will give a pretext to countries such as Germany and the United Kingdom, which welcomed the deal, to look away from the situation. But we are surprised that Arab governments like Bahrain and others would openly express support for this deal. Did they forget the Palestinian people and their rights? Did they forget Jerusalem and Islam? He said. Palestinian officials urged the Arab world and international community to act. The best response to the deal can only come from fellow Arab nations, Al-Masri noted. We still have hope on the Arab people, including the Emirati people who unfortunately cannot express their mind due to terrible state repression. The Arab people still rejects such normalization. Brothers and sisters, if you think shameless UAE stopped there, you are wrong. All those who opposed the peace deal between UAE and Israel were arrested after expressing their opposition to the deal either in private meetings or on social media. The UAE State Security Agency has secretly arrested scores of Emiratis, Palestinians, and Jordanians living in the UAE for opposing Abu Dhabi's peace deal with Israel. An opinion poll conducted by the Washington Institute Near East Policy revealed that 80% of the Emirates oppose the establishment of relations with Israel. Brothers and sisters, the UAE has betrayed Palestine with the establishment of the Abraham Accord, which will be considered as another historical betrayal. The UAE and the Arab world, despite being one of the most powerful countries, have till date failed to support the Palestinians, but have certainly caused them betrayals. It is only of a question left: who will betray Palestine next? Brothers and sisters, do let us know your thoughts by commenting below on the newly formed Israel-UAE peace deal. Help this video to spread by sharing to your contacts. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to help us unveil reality on topics like this. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.